So, back from the VGC guide, and this time we are looking at Flutter. Don't think I need to say too much about this Pokemon. Like, it's clearly great. Everyone already knows how great it is. Ghost Fairy is very, very good offensive coverage. You don't need any defensive coverage because it's got no defenses. I mean, special defense is great, but yeah, no, almost no defenses. It's quite ridiculous. So, Focus Sash is going to be the most common item for sure. Then you have a combination of absolutely Shadow Ball, Moonblast / Dazzling Gleam, and then Icy Wind is going to be the most common as well. So that's going to be the main Flutter main you should expect to see. There is also an argument for Imprison, and if I can spell Imprison, that's not how you spell Imprison. Imprison and Trick Room, because it's going to be holding the Focus Sash most likely. Most Imprison Trick Room users want to be holding the Focus Sash, and you can slap this onto a slightly faster and less bulky team so that you can just stop the Trick Room going up. That would also be fine. But Icy Wind is pretty good, especially because it's so fast as well. Like, one of the most speedy Pokemon in the format. Like, Iron Bundle picking it out by 1 speed is quite significant. But otherwise, if you want Icy Wind spam, Flutter Mane is going to be very good for it as well. You can absolutely go with the Life Orb to increase your damage output even further. And if you do, I recommend Substitute. Because then that's like giving yourself a free Focus Sash. And it's fast enough that it will be able to set up the Substitutes quite freely. You do sacrifice your HP, and then you sacrifice your HP even more to Life Orb. But you didn't need HP in the first place. Like, you get KO'd to any move on the physical side regardless. So sacrificing your HP does not really make any difference here at all. It's more of the fact that it will give you some survivability. And because it's so fast, it will always be able to set up the substitutes that you really need. So yeah, that's going to be my recommendation if you go with the Life Orb one. Obviously, you can still go with the Icy Winds, and you can still go with offensive coverage with Mystical Fire as well. You can have Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast. Also fine. But I would probably just stick with one. I think the substitute makes a lot of sense on the Life Orb Flutter mains. Also, the Terra typing should be Ghost or Fairy. You don't need a defensive Terra typing in the slightest. It should be Ghost or Fairy. I think with the Focus Sash, from what I've seen calcs-wise, Ghost is better because then you definitely KO every single Golden Go, whereas Focus Sash Shadow Ball does not KO it. But Life Orb should be able to, or at least get close to not the super bulky ones. So then you can justify going Fairy a bit more. And because Moonblast is stronger than Shadow Ball, you can compound that with the Terra Fairy to make the strongest attack that you can have. But Sash probably still Ghost. It is worth mentioning the choice specs as well. This is a bulky choice specs also. Like, you can just go 252, 252. That would be fine. Because, you know, Flutter means want to be going 252s mostly. But this is a slightly bulkier moveset. Slightly bulkier EV spread is what I'm going for. So this much special attack investment is going to be able to OHKO a Golden Go that's able to survive a Life Orb, Hydreigon, Dark Pulse with your Shadow Ball. So that's what that benchmark is for. And because you're going for that, then you don't go max speed. Like, just accept that you're going to lose the speed ties with the Flutter means. You survive a Sash Shadow Ball anyway. That's a tongue twister. So, yeah, the Shadow Ball from Focus Sash Flutter Mane doesn't KO opposing Flutter mains. So then it doesn't really matter if you lose the speed type, because then you'll still be able to respond with the Shadow Ball. And if you can speed control past the opposing Flutter mains, then you're fine anyway. So this outspeeds a Mouse Hold. So then you are able to have a defensive investment to survive a Iron Hands Wild Charge. So max attack Iron Hands Wild Charge is able to survive that quite nicely. It also survives a Meowscarada Flower Trick, like the Sash one, not the Life or the Bandit ones, but a Sash one, so that the fact that you underspeed isn't as detrimental. Like, if you do need to be outspeeding Meowscarada, just go with that instead. It's like same defensive investment for the Iron Hands Wild Charge. You don't get as much special attack, but with the choice specs, it won't particularly matter anyway. So yeah, I think Flutter Mane, I think it's pretty obvious of what it needs to do. It just needs to hit hard. So, and it's going to be able to do that very well. Ghost and Fairy, very, very good for it.